When you spoke to John Darjean before the altercation, do you recall him telling you that Shiloh was speaking to his mother on the telephone and Shiloh was in his office?
I don't recall.
Do you recall telling John Darjean on the telephone when you spoke to him on September 17th, 2015, that Pilar has no custody over Shiloh Sanders at all? She is not even allowed to talk to Shiloh. She is crazy. She is kind of cuckoo. She's recording everything that you're saying now. She is trying to set you up.
I don't use the words crazy or cuckoo.
Do you recall telling him anything like that?
I remember telling him I have custody.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you recall telling John Darjean on September 17, 2015, that Pilar Sanders is trying to set him up and trying to set the school up?
I don't recall that.
Do you recall telling John Darjean on September 17, 2015, that Pilar Sanders is recording everything right now? John, I need you to get your phone from my son.
I definitely don't recall that, because why would he be getting his phone from my son?
Do you recall John Darjean telling you in that conversation, that same telephone conversation, that Shiloh is talking to his mother, Pilar Sanders, and I let him use my phone to talk to her because he was on his phone and that violates school policy?
I thought Joe said he had two phones, didn't he?
I don't want to know what your lawyer said, okay? That
No, I'm
violates
saying
the
him.
attorney.
I'm looking at him, but I'm addressing you.
Okay.
So
Do you need me to repeat my question?
No, sir. I don't recall that.
Okay. So you don't recall John Darjean telling you Shiloh's talking to Pilar Sanders on my telephone?
No.
Do you recall saying anything to John Darjean on September 17, 2015 to the effect, get him off the phone with Pilar Sanders?
No, sir.
Do you recall telling him, I don't want him talking to Pilar Sanders?
No, sir.
Do you recall telling John Darjean in that conversation, grab the phone and just hang it up?
I'm going to tell a grown man to grab the phone. No, sir.
Okay. Do you recall hearing John Darjean say, hey, Shiloh, I got to get my phone back because your dad said I got to get my phone back?
No, sir. Hold on one second, let me recall this. So he was standing by my son. He said, hey, Shiloh, I'm going to use Rick to enact this. Hey, Shiloh, I got to get my phone back because your dad says I got to get my phone back. You saying that's how it went? Because I don't recall that.
Are you finished?
Are you?
No, are you finished?
I'm having a good time. I ain't got nowhere to go. I'm good.
Sir, it's my responsibility to ask questions. It's your responsibility to answer them.
I am. I just wanted to enact that to make sure I'm feeling it, like to make sure that's how it went down.
Have you done what you needed to do?
Man.
Have you finished what you needed to do?
No, we got plenty of time. How much time we got here today? I ain't got
Mr.
nothing to
Sanders.
do. I'm sorry, sir. I apologize, Your Honor.
You're here to answer questions today, not ask them.
You're right, sir. I'm sorry. It's been long. I just want to have a good time for a minute.
In the same conversation, did you ask John Darjean, John, go look and see if Shiloh is on his personal phone now. Tell me if he's on his personal phone.
No, sir.
Do you remember Mr. Darjean telling you, yes, I see him on his personal phone?
No, sir.
Do you remember telling Mr. Darjean, do me a favor, I'm your brother in Christ. I need you.
Oh, my God. That's good. No, sir.
I'll repeat the question because I wasn't finished.
I'm sorry.
It's all right. Do you remember telling Mr. Darjean, do me a favor, I'm your brother in Christ. I need you to do me a huge favor. I need you to go get the phone from Shiloh.
No, sir.
Do you remember telling John Darjean anything to that effect?
That didn't happen.
Okay. So you remember you didn't tell him
No, that didn't happen.
that? Okay. Okay. Do you remember anything else about the telephone conversation we just talked about?
No, sir.
All right, I want to show you what I have marked as exhibit number 2, and I'm going to represent to you, sir, to his mother.
No, sir.
Do you recall John Darjean asking you in your telephone conversation with him that, is Shiloh Sanders violent? Will he hurt me? Will he swing on me?
No, sir.
Or anything to that effect?
That didn't happen.
Okay. Do you recall telling John Darjean in any teleconference or telephone conversation you had with him on September 17, 2015, Shiloh Sanders will not hurt you. He is all talk. I need you to go get the phone. I don't want him talking to his mother.
That never happened.
If someone asked you on September 17, 2015, before this altercation, if Shiloh Sanders was violent or if he would swing on them, what would you tell them?
Shiloh's ain't built like that.
I'm sorry?
Shiloh's not built like that.
So you would tell him he won't swing on you and he's not violent?
No, I would tell him Shiloh is not built like that.
What do you mean by that?
That means he don't have that in him. That's not him. He's not going to walk up to nobody and swing on them. He's not that kind of kid.
Okay. Okay, have we covered everything that you recall telling John Darjean in that one conversation on September 17?
I believe so.
And have you told me everything you recall him telling you in that one telephone conversation you had with him?
That I recollect, yes.
Do you know where LaToya Williams lives?
No, I don't.
Do you recall on September 17, 2015, telling LaToya Williams, go give my phone to John Darjean, I need to talk to him?
No, I don't.
There has been some reference to a videotape showing Shiloh assaulting Devontre Bookman on September 18th, 2015, the day after this altercation. Do you know if there's a videotape of that?
No, sir.
Have you ever seen a videotape?
No, sir.
Did you ever tell Shiloh Sanders not to return to school after the altercation with John Darjean?
Why would I tell him that?
Well, you're his father.
Why would you tell a kid not to go to school?
Because he was suspended.
Who said he was suspended?
Well, Leroy McLemore said he was suspended.
McClure.
McClure.
No, I don't believe that was the case.
And the school records say he was suspended for the 17th, for the 18th.
If I would have been notified that he was suspended, I would have told him not to go to school.
Okay, all right. You just weren't notified of it?
No.
Okay. Does that help you recollect then that you probably weren't in town on the date of the altercation because you weren't notified that he was suspended for the next day?
I probably wasn't, but I don't know where I was.
Okay. If you were not in town, would you have been working?
That's the only time I would leave my kids if I'm working.
Did your work take you out of town quite a bit during the year 2015?
My work only took me out of town on Wednesdays or Thursdays.
Okay. So you would have been out of town on Wednesdays and Thursdays during the month of September of 2015?
Depending on the time, yeah. Depending on the time.
And where would you have been on Wednesdays and Thursdays during the month of September of 2015?
It depends on the NFL site in the game.
But you would have been working for the NFL?
Yes.
Okay. On Wednesdays and Thursdays?
Mm-hmm. or either or.
Was that a yes?
Either or.
Yes, okay. And what type of work would you have been doing on Wednesdays and Thursdays in September of 2015?
Television.
And what type of television work?
Television work.
Was it Thursday night football? I'm trying to get a feel for that.
Yes, I believe so.
Would you have been commentating on Thursday night football
I believe so.
in September of 2015?
I believe so.
And that's why you had to leave Wednesday to get ready and commentate on Thursday.
I believe so.
And when did you normally return in September of 2015 after you did your commentating?
Sometimes late Thursday night, sometimes Friday morning.
And you would have gone wherever there was a Thursday night football game?
Yes, sir.
So if we look at the schedule, we can coordinate that?
Yes, sir.
The NFL schedule?
Yes, sir.
Do you still do that same commentating on Thursday night football?
Sometimes.
And how long did that last up to?
It depends on the schedule.
Yeah, I understand. That's a poor question. How long did you do commentating for Thursday night football after September of 2015?
Depends on the schedule.
Or did you do it into 2016?
It depends on the schedule.
I'm asking you what you recall. I'm sorry.
I don't recall.
Now, I want to talk to you about Shiloh being admitted to the Dallas County Juvenile Detention Center, okay? Huh? Is that a yes? Mm-hmm. You need to answer yes or no. I'm sorry. So the
Yes.
written record is clear, okay? What was your answer, sir?
Yes.
Okay. Did you admit Shiloh to the Dallas County Juvenile Detention Center?
Judge, Louis Isaacs represents Shiloh Sanders. I think we are getting into areas now that should be subject of these matters not being available for public record, and that Shiloh remains a juvenile. To the extent that he's about to ask him about juvenile offenses or issues dealing with anything that he was involved with as a juvenile, we would first of all object and request the judge to prevent any inquiry into those items, and then alternatively, if you're going to allow it, seal from public distribution at this time.
First of all, I don't think it needs to be sealed, Judge. Secondly, he was admitted there, and the particular portion I want to go through dealing with the CPS report is an interview, face-to-face interview that Rick Robertson was present at, Mr. Sanders' attorney, with Mr. Sanders when Jordan Ham, the CPS investigator, interviewed Mr. Sanders specifically about the altercation that took place on September 17, 2015. So they are admissions, mostly against interest, contrary to the position that he is taking now.
All right. I'm going to overrule that objection as to the present question, and I'm going to instruct counsel that if I want a response to an objection, I'll ask for it.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
And Your Honor, just to make this go smoother, to the extent that he gets into other areas, do I need to object, or?
I think you should preserve your record.
All right, thank you.
Okay. May I proceed, Your Honor?
You may.
Did you admit Shiloh Sanders to, I think they call it the Latote Center, which is the Dallas County Juvenile Detention Center in Dallas?
Yes.
Okay. And did you admit him there on October 21st, 2015?
I don't recall it.
Again, let me object. What he's told the judge is he's going to ask him about conversations he's had with Mr. Sanders about incident that I guess we're going to hear about, which is different than going into admitting him to a juvenile facility and anything dealing with that incident.
Overruled.
Was that the date you admitted him there?
I don't recall.
Okay. Let me show you, sir, what has been previously marked as Ham Exhibit Number 1. And I will represent to you that I took the deposition of Jordan Ham, the CPS investigator. It was previously taken. and Mr. Ham produced Ham Exhibit Number 1 and represented that it was the investigation report into an alleged child abuse, where it was alleged that my client abused Shiloh Sanders. And arising from that allegation, Mr. Ham investigated the altercation and prepared this investigation report, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Have you reviewed Ham Exhibit Number 1?
Not really.
Okay. Have you ever looked at it?
Slightly.
Did you review Mr. Ham's deposition?
Slightly.
Okay. So it was something that was provided to you?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I want to talk to you. You were interviewed by Jordan Ham.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And did you see where Mr. Ham testified in his deposition that he did interview you at Focus Learning Academy and you were in the presence of one of your lawyers, Mr. Rick Robertson?
Yes.
Okay. I'd like for you to turn to page 11 of Ham Exhibit 1. Do you remember Mr. Ham interviewing you?
Not really.
Okay. But you do remember it took place.
Yes.
And we're on page 11. Are you there?
Yes.
And it says September 29, 2015, 11:30 a.m., face-to-face, Mr. Deion Sanders' father. Do you see that?
Yes.
Okay. And it says, I, Jordan Ham, conducted an interview with the father, Mr. Deion Sanders, in a private conference room at Focus Learning Academy, 2524 West Ledbetter Drive, Dallas, Texas, 75233. Mr. Sanders was accompanied by his attorney, Mr. Rick Robertson. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And is that all accurate?
When was this interview conducted?
9/29/2015.
With Jordan Ham and Rick?
And Rick, your lawyer.
Okay.
And Rick's here today, isn't he?
Yes.
He's seated to your right. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So is the date of the interview accurate?
I don't know.
Is the time of the interview accurate?
I don't recall the time.
Okay. And I want to go through this with you, okay? And you can read along with me. Mr. Sanders reported that on Thursday, September 17, 2015, the security cameras at the Focus Learning Academy observed Shiloh and another student shooting dice on the school premises. Did I read that right?
Yes.
And did you tell Jordan Ham that during your interview?
I don't recall.
Okay. But you could have.
I don't recall.
Do you dispute telling him that?
I don't recall.
Okay. So you're not saying you didn't tell him, and you're not saying you didn't tell, that you did tell him. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm saying I don't recall.
Okay. Then it states, Mr. Sanders stated that Shiloh was confronted by security personnel, Mr. John Darjean. Mr. Sanders indicated that Mr. Darjean did find dice in Shiloh's bag. Did I read that correctly?
Yes.
And is that accurate? Did you tell Mr. Ham that?
I don't recall that.
Are you saying you did not tell him that?
I'm saying I don't recall that, period.
Okay. All right. Then it states, Mr. Sanders stated that Shiloh was sent to in-school supervision, ISS. Mr. Sanders reported that Shiloh became disruptive while in ISS. He indicated that Shiloh attempted to use his cell phone while in ISS, which is a violation of school policy. Did I read that right?
Yes, you did.
And did you tell Jordan Ham that?
I don't recall this.
Then it states, Mr. Sanders reported that Shiloh was confronted by Mr. Darjean. A subsequent time while in ISS, Mr. Sanders stated that Shiloh reportedly struck Mr. Darjean in the chest and began resisting away from Mr. Darjean. Did I read that correctly?
Yes, you did.
Did you tell Mr. Ham that?
I don't recall that.
Okay. But by the time that you gave this face-to-face meeting with Jordan Ham, you had already spoken to Shiloh Sanders about the altercation, hadn't you?
I don't recall that.
You don't recall that? Are you saying you had not already talked
No,
to
what
him?
I'm saying, I don't recall if I talked to Shiloh or not.
But if Mr. Ham interviewed you on the 29th and the altercation occurred on the 12th, the 17th, you would have talked to Mr. Ham almost 2 weeks after the altercation, right?
Right.
Okay. Do you know where you would have gotten the information where you say that Shiloh reportedly struck Mr. Darjean in the chest and began resisting away from Mr. Darjean?
The key word there is reportedly. That someone had to tell that. I believe Mr. Ham was asking to give him a description of what I thought happened and what was said to have happened. And I'm giving him an analysis on what I was told.
Okay, and who told you that?
Someone at the school, I don't recall.
Was
who
it
told me.
Leroy McClure?
Definitely wasn't Leroy.
Was it Coach Shires?
Who?
Is it Coach Shires? Was it Coach Shields?
Coach Shields. Definitely wasn't Shields. Shields ain't really down with the character, so it wasn't Shields. I don't know who it would have been.
What's Coach Shields' first name?
I don't know.
You know he witnessed this event, don't you?
You're right.
Well, did you read Coach Shields' statement?
No, I didn't.
Are you aware that Coach Shields said in his statement, wrote down in his statement on the day this altercation occurred, that Shiloh Sanders elbowed John Darjean in the chest?
Objection, assumes the facts not known.
Overruled.
No.
Not a proper objection at a deposition.
Are you aware of that, sir?
No, I'm not.
Okay. So can you tell me, sir, where you got the information that Shiloh reportedly struck Mr. Darjean in the chest and began resisting away from Mr. Darjean?
I don't know. Someone in the school. I don't know who told
Could
me.
it have come from your son?
I don't know about that.
Okay.
He wouldn't have said that.
And then it states Mr. Sanders stated that Mr. Darjean was required to restrain Shiloh. Did you tell Jordan Ham that?
I don't recall.
You're not saying you didn't, did you?
No,
Are
I'm saying
you?
I don't recall that.
Okay, all right. Then it states Mr. Sanders stated that school personnel are all trained on how to perform proper restraints. Do you recall telling Mr. Ham that?
I definitely didn't tell Mr. Ham the school personnel are all trained. I don't talk like that.
Okay, so you know you didn't tell him that.
No, because some ways you speak and some ways you don't. I know I don't speak in that manner.
Do you know why Jordan Ham, an official of the state of Texas, would make that up then?
You gotta ask him that.
Okay, I did, and he
Yeah.
said he didn't make it up.
I don't talk like that.
Okay.
I know my verbiage. I don't talk like that.
All right. Then it states Mr. Sanders stated that he does not suspect any excessive physical force used in restraining Shiloh.
I don't talk like that.
Well, sir, it says you said that. Did you say that to him?
No, sir.
Okay. Well, I noticed that in your pleadings in this case, you allege that Mr. Darjean did use excessive force. The question I have for you is, why are you alleging that now when Mr. Ham says you told him you did not suspect any excessive physical force that Mr. Darjean did when he was restraining Shiloh?
He did use physical force. I saw it on a video.
So you think the video shows that?
Yes.
Okay. What part of the video do you believe shows that?
The video that I saw, that I have.
Okay. Do you think that's the same one that's been produced to me?
I don't think it's but one.
What does that video show you? What did it show you?
It showed that your client was out of order, out of character as normal, that this is a repetitive feat, and it showed me that also the actions showed me that this is not his first time. This is a multiple time, but this is his first time going to court with it, because one particular person in this room that he knows is of the African American descent has done pretty good for himself personally.
Okay. Well, I didn't follow the whole thing, but
Yes, you did.
I want to unpack it. Okay. Are you saying that John Darjean has used excessive force in another incident?
Yes.
And can you give me any details about
No,
that
I
other
can't.
than your conclusory statements?
Well, other than, yeah, right. Whatever that means, yeah.
Okay. Who was the individual that you think?
I don't know the individuals' names.
Okay. Okay. Can you give me any other details about it?
No, I can't.
Can you give me the date that it occurred?
No, I
Can
can't.
you tell me where it occurred?
No,
Can you
at
tell me-
school,
All right.
at AAA Academy.
Gentlemen.
Thank you, sir.
Let me remind you that you need to slow down and let each other finish your questions and answers.
Yes, Your Honor, that was my fault. I apologize. Do you know what school it took place at?
AAA, Focus Academy.
And do you know if that was investigated?
Pretty sure it was.
Do you know anybody that witnessed it?
Yes, I think it was several witnesses.
And do you know their names?
No, I don't.
Do you know if it was before the altercation in question or after the altercation in question?
I think it was before the altercation.
Okay. You also mentioned race.
Yes.
You mentioned African American descent.
Right.
Do you think in any way the altercation between my client and your son was race oriented?
No, you missed it because you're white. You missed it.
You're
I was
saying I
saying-
missed.
Yeah.
You're saying I missed this because I'm white?
Yes, I was saying of African American descent because only 2 of us in this room are African Americans. That's what I meant by that.
Okay.
It has nothing to do with my son
Okay.
being African American. It has something to do with he and I being African American.
Okay. And what is that?
I was saying it's only 2 African Americans in here, and one worked his butt off and accumulated a couple dollars.
And who is that?
That
Mr.
would be I.
That would be you?
Yes.
Okay. All right. What does that have to do with this case?
Why do you think we're here?
No, well, you tell me.
We're here because he's broke, don't want to work, and want money because I worked my butt off for it.
Okay. So that's why you think we're here?
No, that's why I know we're here.
Okay.
I don't think that. I'm very accurate on that one.
All right. So you believe my client has made a claim against you because somehow you have accumulated wealth?
Of course, he made a claim against my son as well as I because this isn't his first instance.
Okay.
And I don't know any of those guys that you're suing.
What do you mean you don't know any of the guys?
I don't know anybody else in that school that he has had an altercation with, and he has. He's been terminated as well several times. I'm sure you know that. But yet and still, we find ourselves here.
So are you saying that Mr. Darjean was terminated from Focus Academies? You'll have to answer out.
Yes, I'm sorry.
And do you know who terminated him?
I don't know the principal's name because there's been several.
Okay. All right. I want to get back to the report. Are you saying, Mr. Sanders, that you did not tell Jordan Ham that you didn't suspect any excessive force used in restraining your son?
No, sir, I did not tell him that.
Then I want to read on, if you want to read with me. Okay. Then it states, Mr. Sanders stated that he feels as if the situation was handled appropriately by Mr. Darjean. Did you tell Mr. Ham that?
I don't believe I did.
Okay. Then it states, Mr. Sanders reported that Shiloh's grandmother, Miss Connie Knight, was contacted and requested to pick Shiloh up from school as Mr. Sanders was out of town. Did I read that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
Does that help refresh your recollection that you were out of town on the date of this altercation?
I don't think that's up for debate that I was out of town.
Okay, so you now concede that.
No, I don't know where I was. I
Okay.
don't recall.
Okay, all right. Then it states, you were out of town, you just don't know where you were.
Yes.
Okay. Then it states, Mr. Sanders stated that Shiloh was suspended from attending school the following day as a result of the incident.
I don't recall.
Okay. But did you tell Jordan Ham that Shiloh was suspended from attending school the next day? And did you tell him that on the date of this interview?
The date of this interview was when, the 29th?
Yes, sir.
I'm sure after everything was garnished, we understood. Then, after someone raised sand about Shiloh being at school, Shiloh never told me he was suspended. The school officials had never told me Shiloh was suspended. So the assumption would be that Shiloh's not suspended.
But you don't dispute telling Mr. Ham that?
I don't know what I told Mr. Ham at that point.
Okay. Do you know if this conversation was recorded?
I don't know.
Okay. Then it states, Mr. Sanders stated that despite Shiloh's suspension, Shiloh still proceeded to attend school the following morning with the intentions of fighting the student who told on him for playing dice. Did you tell Mr. Ham that?
I don't recall.
how would you have gotten that information? Would you have gotten it from Shiloh?
I don't really know where I got the information from, sir.
Okay. Then it states Mr. Sanders reported that Shiloh did engage in a physical altercation with the student and was again sent back to his residence. Did you tell Mr. Ham that?
I don't recall, sir.
Then it states Mr. Sanders stated that he proceeded to transport Shiloh, and part of it's redacted, and I'll pick up where it's not, and admitted Shiloh into the crisis intervention program where Shiloh is currently enrolled. Did I read that right?
Yes, sir.
And that's true, isn't it?
Yes, sir, somewhat.
Okay. Then it states Mr. Sanders stated that Shiloh is just being a 15-year-old defiant teenager who is acting out. Mr. Sanders reported that he feels it is in Shiloh's best interest to remain at the Latote Center at this time. Did I read that right?
Yes, sir.
Did you tell Mr. Ham that?
I don't recall, sir.
Why did you admit Shiloh into the Dallas County Juvenile Detention Center?
After speaking to my pastor and a couple others, I felt like it was in the best interest of Shiloh because he had, excuse me?
I'm sorry.
Okay. Because he had run away.
So he ran away from home?
Yes.
Okay. When did he run away from home?
During that process.
Were you gone out of town when he ran away from home?
No, I wasn't. I was home.
Did he run away from home after the altercation?
I don't recall, sir.
Was one of the reasons you admitted him to the Dallas County Juvenile Detention Center because of the altercation he engaged in with Mr. Darjean?
No.
How about the assault that he perpetrated on Devontae Brookman?
No, I don't think that was an assault. I don't think you could call it what you want. It was not an assault. It was because of he running away.
Okay. Then it states, he stated that Shiloh's progress will determine how long Shiloh remains at the facility. Mr. Sanders stated that Shiloh needs time to sit down and think about the path he is currently heading down. Did you tell Mr.
I don't recall, sir.
Okay. You then state Mr. Sanders stated that Shiloh may end up in prison at his current rate, and that Mr. Sanders reported that he does attend weekly meetings with Shiloh's therapist and caseworker and does obtain updates in regards to Shiloh's progress. Did you tell Mr.
I
Campbell?
don't recall, sir.
The therapist that you would go to with Shiloh, was that the therapist at the Dallas County Juvenile Detention Center?
Litot.
Litot?
Yes.
Okay, so it was that therapist.
Yes.
I noticed that when I took Mr. Ham's deposition, Mr. Ham also advised me that Shiloh had complained to Child Protective Services that you had physically abused him and mentally abused him before the altercation in question on several occasions. Are you aware of that?
No, sir. I'm aware of him complaining. I don't know about your several occasions, but I'm aware of him calling Mr. Ham.
And
Yes, sir.
complaining about you?
Yes, sir.
Alleging that you had physically and both mentally and emotionally abused him?
Yes.
And that was on several occasions?
Yes, sir.
That was before this altercation, is that right?
I don't recall, sir.
Okay. But each of those, is it your understanding that each of those allegations lodged by your son against you were found unfounded?
I don't know what unfounded means.
Well, they were found invalid. They did not
Just say
find
false.
cause to believe.
Just say false.
Okay, were they false?
They were found false? Is that what you're asking?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So Shiloh falsely accused you of that?
Yes.
Okay. On each of those occasions?
Yes.
It was untrue on his part?
Yes.